to show this dealership's new enough, so they just got the grass put in. Dealer that I use probably to get filters and stuff from now on. This is the closest New Hampshire dealer to me, and I've been getting them in Maine. The problem I have with that is if they deliver something to you in New Hampshire, you don't pay the sales tax. When you go to their store to buy filters, even though you're from New Hampshire, you pay the sales tax. And I'm that guy. That really ticks me off. Like, but like I said, this is a small dealer. I actually think this got put in because there's another dealer up the road that sells Yanmar and a couple other pieces of equipment. This is the smallest dealer that these guys have, I can tell you that. Some trade-in stuff. That KX71-3, I looked at that a week or so ago, and that's a clean machine. I don't think that's been hurt at all. I bet you're gonna find an electrician had it, so it didn't get really used as construction. It was probably digging trench lines and stuff. I'm not a skid steer guy or SVL. These are the track ones. I do like the track ones better. The thing I got that I don't like is the price of them. You can buy my 430 loader, you can probably buy 2.5 of my loaders for what that one machine right there cost. And depending on what you're doing with it, I mean, if you're popping up concrete all the time, ripping up hot top driveways, I think that's probably the tool to have. But as far as my landscape business, I don't know, I don't see it. I don't care how good you think you can drive one of those, I'll guarantee you tear up more ground than I do with my loader. I do believe they have their uses though. A lot of the attachments. I'm gonna guess these guys have become a Bandit dealer because there's some nice stuff here. I know they rent them too. I bought my used one from these guys, not this store, but one of their other stores, with 125 hours on it. I think it might be one of those weird deals too, where they're not a dealer, but they rent them for low hours and then they can sell them. And during COVID, there was a market for it. We'll touch base on this real quick too, because I've got the old series of these. This is the new BX 2380. A little beefier tire on the front. It's a little bit bigger. I think these are 4.5 inches wider than the one I have, as far as the what the tires track. But they had to do that. They had to put a better tire in the front of these because that's the weak point as far as I'm concerned. But again, I'm going to show where the market's gone in a year and a half. But these were something that when you asked, my son-in-law was thinking about buying one of these, they told him it was probably going to be like 6 months to a year because of the COVID crap. And then now you look at this one, this has been sitting here. Just market slowed down, and I believe these right now are 0 for 60. So I have that older one. What I want to do, and I'll show you one over here if I can. I'll show you these too. Like, they still make the small lawn mowers. That's a pretty impressive though. You look at how that mower deck's built. I just like Kubota stuff. That and Kubota mowers, they're made by Kubota. I think even the gas models were all the years they've been around. I know a guy that I used to do a lot of stuff with years ago owned a campground, and he had the diesel version of small ones like this, and he had like 3 of them to do the campground with. This is something else I think that's going to be in my future. I think I could actually use one of these for the business. There's times that I could shuffle material down onto the lakefront with one of these. Probably a lot easier than I could a tractor. Plus I think they just have a lot of uses that I think I'd like to get one to put a plow on. Maybe later in life we'll do. My yard's a pain in the butt to do with something big. These have come a long way. I want to go big enough. Like this is a Sidekick, which is a gas. I believe this is I want to say Subaru motor, but they've done it to the specs of Kubota now, so it says Kubota on it. But I do believe that's an outsourced motor, which is real unusual for Kubota. And I think the only time they've done that is on these gas powered side by sides. All the diesel stuff is all Kubota. Just go over here, show you some attachments. Again, I have a job now and then, maybe twice a year, where having that broom would be nice, but I've never justified buying the expense that them cost. We'll go over here. I mean, this is impressive to look at, but I mean, you go to their other dealers and it's like, this is nothing. Their other dealers, this stuff's stacking. I went to their dealer north of here, and I couldn't believe the stuff they've got sitting right now. I've owned one of these before. I traded, this is what I had before I got the MX series with the cab. If money wasn't an object, I wouldn't have got rid of it. It's a very impressive tractor. I also like how you can get the oversized bucket. I mean, that with a cab on it, you're starting to see a lot of guys use those for snow removal because they're so much cheaper to buy than a loader. These are the LX series Kubota sells now. These are getting more and more popular. I think they're a little small for what I do, chassis wise. Skinny. Got their purposes though. This is something I'm thinking about buying, and I'm still going to keep mine because I'm going to keep mine for mowing my yard and my field. And I think one of these would be real handy to have in my business when you got to go plant 1 or 2 trees. I want a B26. I think that might be out of the scope I want to spend for the next couple years. This is something I think I could manage if things go good. I don't believe it will be this year. We'll see. If I get involved with a job where I need to get rid of some money tax wise, I'd probably think that's one of the pieces I would think about buying. You could do that and finance it for 24 months, and I don't think it'd be too bad. I believe right now them are 0 for 60. They might even be 0 for 84 or 72. I can't remember what I read, but they just sent me a flyer in the mail. I know they're 0 for 60, and I think they were 0 if you bought an implement. Like this one comes as a tractor load of backhoe. These are called the BX23s. I think they were BX25s for a while, but people look at that and say, oh, what a tinker toy. They're not. They really work well. You look at how that backhoe is built. I also like how the seat flips around, so you're sitting like a real backhoe would. But there's just areas I get in that are so tight to fit between camps and stuff, and you've got to dig electric lines and water lines. I know I would use that if I got it. It would be the BX I have now. When I bought that, my wife questioned it, and she can't believe how much that's on job sites. That's been on just about every job site I've been on this year, that little BX I got now. So I know I would use one of those. And like I said, you put a backhoe on one of these, and I don't think it's built as rugged. That's sold as a tractor load of backhoe. So the one thing I can say that seems like it's moving because they're getting them, and during COVID they couldn't get them, is these diesel side-by-sides. We drove by here probably a week ago because I came in to look at that KX71, and this yard was full of these, and they're gone now. This and that one up there, the only one, but they had the 4-seater, the 2-seaters, the sidekicks, all but one's gone, and this is the only diesel. This parking lot was pretty full. So apparently people are buying these, but that's something else I might think about picking up. I'm just getting to that point. I've always wanted one. I just never could justify it. Another thing I'm thinking about getting into is I might start, I don't want to do lawn care, but I've been making some pretty good money the last few years repairing people's lawns. Everybody gets hydro seeding done, and half the guys that are doing hydro seeding suck at it, to put it bluntly. And you've got to go in there and revamp the lawns after. I don't know if they use bad grass seed or not enough, but a lot of guys that got into the hydro seeding stuff just do it the cheap way, and it's not coming out good. So you get paid to go in and revamp someone's lawn. And I think what I want to do is, instead of getting, they sell a walk behind that you can put real fine, like 1/2-inch screen loom in, like they do at the golf courses when they spread out the sand. It's basically like a sander would be on your truck for the winter. They sell a small Fisher sells a small version to fit in this. I actually had one years ago that I had in the back of one of my trucks. I used to slide it in one of my easy dumpers, and I had a site that I had used straight salt on, so I would just keep the bags in front of it, and it worked good. Instead of having a conveyor chain, I had a rubber belt. So I'm thinking if I got one of these, I could put one of those in that and spread the fine loom out to overseed and stuff like that. It's just something, another avenue I'm thinking about doing to make a little bit of money. The downfall to it is I think I'd have to travel a little bit to do it. But I think I could do it all with a F350 with a slide-in easy dump and this on a trailer with that sander in the back. Show you these. These SVLs are just getting more and more popular. This is like a nice size, the U35-4. I think they make a -5 now too, which is a little bit bigger cab. Most of them are going to the -5 now. That's a 57-5. I'm gonna guess this is in the rental fleet. It is for sale now, but this is either a trade-in or was in their rental fleet. Tell you real quick, I guess. It's a 2021. They're asking $67,900. Again, right now, I think you would probably have an easier time buying that brand new than you would try to get a payment on that used piece. I think that's where the truck market's heading right now too. You're going to be smarter to buy new. That looks new, but I believe that's a rental and they put a new bucket on it. Maybe some new tires, but it just shows some wear here and there. That I don't think that's brand new. This machine's tight though. You look at, they didn't have it priced last time I looked. $32,900. It's a 2015 with 532 hours on it. So there's a lot of life left in that machine. '15 I think is the first that should have air. And I think 15 was the first year it didn't have a big box. What they did with these when they first started putting air in them was they put a box on the back and they'd get hung up on everything, and they had a lot of issues with it. That's priced right though with that amount of hours on it, and like I said, it doesn't look like it's been hurt. You can tell the ones that have been used as a bulldozer, that cutting edge will be burnt right off, and then another one will be bolted on. You're going to find that's a rental. That's a Sidekick gas job, which you normally see the diesels have the plows on them. That there, again, used. I think I would stay away from it if it's plowed all its life. Bobcat skid steers. I mean, when I first started, that's pretty much if you rented one, that's what you rented. But yes, them seem like the quality's gone away now. You don't hear the ranting and raving about them, and the fact that that white tractor's sitting at an orange place tells you something too. I believe right now everything's pilot control other than New Holland. New Holland's the only one that kept the foot controls. I don't even believe Bobcat does it anymore. I think Kubota's phasing it out. But I know somebody that just bought a New Holland instead of a Bobcat, because Bobcat doesn't have the foot control. They're all pilot control now. Again, these are, if I came into money, I'd own one of these. Business sense, it doesn't make business sense to me to have one and try to make $1 with it. Most of the stuff I do, that's just too much of a machine, and I think it weighs so much. I don't even believe I'd have to have my son-in-law haul that around for me, which is a downfall. That's something you look at when you're buying stuff like this. I might look into one of these buckets to put on one of my tractors for snow removal. That and bark mulch, stuff like that. I do a lot of I did 2 or 3 jobs this year where I was cleaning up 15 years worth of pine needles, and it was all light material. It would have been nice to have a bucket that size. You put a skirt on the back of that, that's probably all of a 1 yard bucket at least. All right, I just thought I'd show you where things are at. And like I said, a year ago you were told you weren't going to see a BX for a year, and here you are. They're all over the place. And like I said, this is nothing. Me and my wife had to take a run to get some filters to one of their other dealers, and I mean they've got millions of dollars worth of stuff sitting around. Not just these guys neither. We went up to we took a day off one day, went up into Maine, and a couple of the dealers that are up there, Kubota dealers. There's plenty on their parking lots now. These guys are a cam trailer dealer. I did look at this one. This one's been sitting around for a while. It's getting pretty rusty. I don't know if they would have gave me a deal on it, but I thought about it, and then I don't know. That'd be nice for hauling firewood or use as a dumpster. I believe it's a 9,900 pound. But I opened up the rear gates. That's been sitting around so long that the hinge points are rusted. You have to really yank on it. Cam trailers, I've never heard anything bad about them. I know in the past when I've tried to buy them, they're pretty pricey. And I really don't think they're built any better than anybody else's. I can't even, I'll take a quick shot of this chipper. I can't even imagine what this one costs. The little one like I got was brand new. I bought it out of a rental fleet with 100 and something hours on it, but brand new. That one sells for just under 35 grand. I'm gonna guess this is in 180 range. Pretty impressive. I might even be way off. I mean, this one might be 180. This one's probably way more than that actually. I bet you're pushing towards 200,000 or maybe even better. I don't know the market, but I just thought I'd take a shot. Again, these were something that I know a guy that rents 4 or 5 of them, and he ordered a new one and still didn't have it. This was a year ago, but he said I was supposed to get it. They didn't send it. And I know his ended up, when he did get it, he ended up changing it so it wasn't a diesel motor. It ended up being a 4-cylinder Chevy motor on it. And it saved him a lot of money. But people are stepping away from the diesel on these too, because no one wants to put DEF fluid or have regeneration stuff on it. So they're changing a lot of these to the gas motors. Which years ago, that's what these were. I mean, even when I first started this business, when I rented one, most of them had the 306-cylinder Ford motors on them. They've come a long way though. All right, I just want to revisit this. This is a KX71 that's for sale here for, I think it was 32,000. I just looked it up on websites. Like, that's a 2015 model. It's real tight looking though. I mean, the pins are real good. You kick that bucket around, there's nothing moving. It's got 500 hours on it. 15 is an older machine, but I looked it up, and if an auction site had that, it's probably about $2,500 less. But looking at the ones in the pictures, you can tell the bucket's all loose, hasn't been probably greased properly. I'm gonna guess if I looked into this, they're gonna tell me an electrician or a plumber owned this and just did water lines or something with it, because like I said, I don't believe it's been used in abuse. That bucket looks all original. It looks like it's got the original teeth on it. But I just wanted to point that out. I did look it up after I thought about it. I mean, to me, that's a lot of money for that 15. A lot of people would be like, I don't care, it's only got 500 hours. I don't really care what year it is, but I do, because there's still a value based off the year too. But again, that's probably a machine they know and know well, or it wouldn't be here that old for sale. That would have they would have probably shipped that somewhere to one of the auction places. But it's real tight. The tracks don't look like they've been hurt. I don't believe they've been changed neither. It's a good machine. If someone had the money to pay cash for that, I mean, I think that'd be a good deal. I think finance that would be a little difficult, but I just thought I'd revisit that real quick. I just wanted to stop here. This is a dealer that's literally 2 minutes up the road from that Kubota dealer I wanted to show. They sell Massey Ferguson and Bad Boy tractors here. These are priced right, I think, for what they are. Personally, myself, I still think the BX is the one to beat. I also know somebody that bought one of the small Yanmars that's pretty impressed with it. I actually know somebody that's had one of the small Massey Ferguson and had some issues with the front end staying together, and I don't think he really abused it. But these guys carry the Massey Ferguson. It's a 4707, so I'm going to guess that's 47 horsepower. But again, I think these are priced pretty good. I think I see on their site that they I believe it's a 35 horse tractor with the bucket and cab with air conditioning and heat. It was like 35,000, which that's a lot of money, but not a lot of money anymore. And these bad boy tractors you're starting to see, I'm still not sold on these. I know a couple guys that got the bad boy zero turns that have had pretty good luck with them. But these tractors here, I don't know who actually makes them for them. I think there was rumor one time LS was making them. I think this would be a good tractor. And again, I don't want to get beat up on YouTube for bad mouthing. I'm not bad mouthing. I'm just saying a homeowner that's going to buy it and keep it for a long time, I think these are probably a good deal. Same thing. I believe this was like 35,000 with that backhoe on it, which is a cheap. That's a very inexpensive tractor with that capability. The downfall that I can see to this, and again, people are going to beat me up, but I've been doing it long. I've been in business long enough, and I know how it works. If you decide you want a bigger tractor and go to trade this in, that's when you're going to realize why it was cheaper to buy. You also see a lot of these, and that dealer I went to today is a new dealer, only a few months ago. Like I said, they're just putting the grass in. You go to any other Kubota dealer or John Deere dealer, there's always one of these sitting there, and they're normally sitting there with 50 hours, 50 to 150 hours on it, and someone traded it in to get a John Deere Kubota. Or same thing with the I'm trying to think of, there's another brand out there too, I think the last time I went to the one in Maine, the big Kubota dealership I normally go, that's where I buy most of my stuff actually, is from that MV tractor that's over there. But I believe it was a Montana tractor that I think Cabela's or someone like that sold for a while. But that was probably a $25,000 tractor new, and it was sitting there for $8,500 with 200 hours on it. But I guess they already have an issue getting parts for them, so they're scared of it. But that means the guy that bought that and then traded it in for the Kubota probably lost his butt on it. But I think there's a butt for every seat. I think there's a homeowner that would buy this and keep it forever, and I think that's what they're good for. The downfall of not getting the big names is if you go to trade it in, and I've done that. I've bought a couple tractors over the years, kept them for like 2 years, and then I need something bigger, and that happens with a lot of business. But I just figured I'd touch base while I was driving by here, and like I said, they got them here from I think they go all the way down to like an 18 horse. That's actually a bad boy implement. I don't know if they're making them their own or that's made by somebody. I won't lie to you, it's made with pretty heavy plate. The welds look real nice. I'd almost say that was welded by a computer machine. Pretty heavy plating. Really well built as far as the steel part of it. I can't speak for the gearboxes and stuff, but and again, until that's out for a few years, I'd be nervous how long it's going to be around, because let's say that's only in business for 5 years, you might have an issue getting parts for that later on. There's a lot of implement. That's one thing I will say, I can say as a fact, I've watched a lot of implement companies come and go. Looked at the trucks to show you the market change on those. And another thing I really forgot to bring up in that video that I thought about on the way home. 6 months ago, that dealer that sells Massey Ferguson and Bad Boy tractors now was a Yanmar dealer and a Branson dealer. I believe Branson got absorbed by TYM. I'm not 100% sure of that. But I don't want to slam other tractor brands, because I really think there's a tractor for everybody, a homeowner. But I'm going to be careful what I say, because I don't want to get people on YouTube mad, but I want to bring this up on that tractor place. they sold, one of my buddies here in town bought a Yanmar from that guy. Very happy with it. It's a little Yanmar tractor with a backhoe on it. He's a homeowner. He plows with it in the winter because he's got a tight driveway. It's not easy to do with a plow truck. He's super happy with it. But I mentioned to him the other day, I'm like, hey, they don't sell Yanmar. What's going on? He goes, what do you mean they don't sell Yanmar? I said, they don't sell Yanmar anymore there. I said, they're a Bad Boy and Massey Ferguson dealer now. So he calls up, and so the support for Yanmar is gone. So, like he said, let's say I have a warranty issue. So, and me and him had this discussion. I've known this guy for 25, 30, probably 25, close to 30 years actually. And he asked me my thoughts when he was going to buy it. Knows I bought a lot of stuff over the years for my company and stuff. But Yanmar motors, I think they're one of the best diesel motors. I don't know if Yanmar actually makes their small. This is when I say this is a small tractor. This is probably like an 18 to 20 horse diesel, 4-wheel drive. Little, looks like a garden tractor, but diesel. Again, it's like my BX. They serve a purpose. But he's pretty unhappy right now. When he called them and said they don't even have like dealer support anymore, and that they really didn't even want to give him the time of day, I don't believe, when he called about it. And that's what my worry is with all these companies. Everybody says, oh, you Kubota guys are there, so you John Deere guys are that. Well, the thing is, there's always, my Kubota dealer that I originally bought my tractor from in 2002, actually I bought my other one in 1999, I think I bought my first used Kubota. That was East Elliott Garage, which got bought out by MB. So that's still a Kubota dealer today. They moved out onto another road and put a new building up. But the Kubota dealers, the big three, Kubota, John Deere, and New Holland, you don't normally have too hard of a time finding support. Like, let's say you do have a dealer closed. You ain't got to go far to find another Kubota dealer, John Deere, or New Holland dealer. Everybody else, like even Coyote, they've come a long way. But I remember when Coyote first came to this part of New Hampshire, them dealers would come and go. The dealer that has been around for the longest in Lebanon, Maine, I looked at tractors. I actually bought some implements, my bush hogs from him. And some of the Coyote tractors he got at that time, the dashboards were all messed up because them had been sitting at another dealer and didn't sell for so long. Then they shipped them up to New Hampshire so he could sell them. And I believe he ended up selling them at a discount because the seats were dry cracked already and stuff like that. But I don't want people thinking I'm slamming other brands. I'm just telling you what I've seen over the years. I've also had a Coyote tractor that sat in my shop one time for 2.5 months waiting for a gear that broke in the rear end. It had less than 100 hours on it. And I ended up getting it back together. That guy was so discouraged, he ended up bringing it to an auction up in Maine somewhere and getting rid of it. Because at the time, this was years ago now, but at the time, trading that in, he felt he probably made another $4,500 bringing it to an auction because someone thought they were stealing it because it was like a shiny new machine. But them are the issues I don't think you're going to have. My Boland's tractor that I originally started with, same thing. That was an Isiki. I believe the whole tractor was like an Isiki or Mitsubishi, and Boland's put their stickers on it, but it had an Isiki diesel in it. Back then, that tractor was, when I got it, it was probably a 10-year-old tractor, 10 or 11-year-old tractor. I waited 2.5 months to get 3 new pistons when I rebuilt that motor. They got shipped over on a boat. It took me 2.5, 3 months. That was a part in my shop covered so nothing would get dusty. Them are the issues that you run into. I'm also a little bit nervous, like that. He had one Branson. I did notice when I left, out back, there was still a new Branson there. And it's out back in the cage, so I'm wondering if they maybe not be able to sell it. It might go back and get re-tagged or something. I don't know what the deal is, but it weren't out on the sales part. So there was one Branson still sitting there. There was nothing Yanmar. I mean, the Yanmar stuff was all gone. And like I said, my buddy that has that Yanmar, he's going to look into, like, what if I have a warranty? I said, you're going to have to find another Yanmar dealer. But that's nothing. Since I've been in business, I've watched 2 or 3 Yanmar dealers start and go away. Like, just, they get bought out, the stuff gets auctioned off, and you don't even know where it went. But Yanmar, to me, like the Yanmar loaders, Yanmar excavators are probably my second choice over a Kubota. They've had super good luck. I do know guys that had the older Yanmar articulated loaders that have issues getting parts sometime, even when they do find a dealer, that dealer doesn't carry parts for those older machines. The Yanmar excavators are pretty easy to come up with parts for. There's a good support online. But over the years, I just want to bring it out in this video, and I don't want people getting ticked off at me, because I'm not talking bad about the brand, other than I know if I bought a Yanmar from him in the last 2 years and all of a sudden, boom, they're just gone and he's on to two other brands, I'd be a little upset, you know. I really feel that Bad Boy tractor is going to be the same thing. I think that's going to get rebranded. It's already rebranded. I don't know who it is, but I'll guarantee that tractor is someone else's tractor that got rebranded for Bad Boy. But I'm saying, let's say that tractor goes away. 10 years from now, you're going to be able to get parts for it. I didn't really take a close look. I would have liked to have seen what it had for a motor in it. If it had a Yanmar motor, you might stand a chance of getting motor parts, but you don't know about what the clutch is. And everybody says that, oh, the LS tractors of New Holland. No, it isn't. You go on and look up New Holland. They're making some of the smaller stuff for New Holland, but the changes they make to make it a New Holland, normally the bucket system's different, the cylinders are different. I believe that LS might be making them in their plant under New Holland specs. They're not the same tractor. I've actually gone right on 125. There was an LS dealer. I don't know if they're still there, but a few years ago I went and looked. And at the time, Chapel Tractor was right up the road. I think they still had their New Holland dealer. You go look at the same 25 horse tractor, the New Holland, the bucket system was different. I believe the tire size was different. But you talk to the LS guy and he was like, oh, this is the same thing as a New Holland. It really isn't. They basically got together to make something. That may be a good thing, bad thing, I don't know. I know people that have LS tractors that have nothing bad to say about them yet. Again, with those, they've stayed around quite a while this time, but if they disappear, is the support going to be there for them? I'm at the point in my career where whatever I buy now and whatever you see in my videos, I'm probably going to keep the rest of my career. I don't think I'm going to get rid of, even if I buy another piece of equipment, I'm not trading anything in. So I want stuff that I know I'm going to be able to get parts for when it's 20 years old. And I think there's going to be like a lot of this stuff. And again, I'm going to get beat up for saying this, but like Branson, Cabela's sold that tractor I mentioned earlier in the video. They're already having issues. The guys that got those, they're being traded in. And like I said, the one that was at the Kubota dealer, $20-something thousand tractor, still looked brand new. I could have bought that day for $8,500. The salesman that I've used for years there told me I wouldn't buy it. He said, matter of fact, it's been sitting here a long time. That will probably end up going to one of the auction places, to be honest with you. But I think they're trying to sell it there just because it is shiny and new looking. But normally most of your big dealers, unless it's super low hours and fairly new, they don't keep stuff. They send it to get rid of it. And again, I explained, I'm going to say that in this video too. People don't understand. You get 500 or 600 hours on a farm tractor or compact tractor. That's a lot of hours. A lot of guys will say, no, that tractor is good for a lot more hours than that. But I know as a business how long it takes me to put 300 or 400 hours on a machine and what I do with it. Like my dump truck right now, that thing has seen some action and it's got less than 30,000 miles on it. It's 2019. You put that on a sales lot, everybody would be like, oh, that's a good deal. But I've delivered hundreds of loads. I've just delivered local. But that truck's hauled a lot of loads. So you gotta pay attention when you buy. And I find when I go look at stuff, like I go to fairs and stuff in the fall, there's always all the brand tractors there. So many of them now are within striking distance of a John Deere or Kubota. Like there's 2 or 3 orange tractors now. But you really look at them and price it out. Sometimes you're only saving $3,500. That sounds like a lot of money. But it really isn't, because the thing I will say this, because I know for a fact with the Kubota stuff, when I'm ready to get rid of my Kubota, there's 10 people that want it. My Loader was for sale, literally word of mouth, for about 15 minutes, and someone called me and bought that. Didn't even squawk on the price. I had that 520S loader, I want to say for almost 5 seasons, and sold it for $500 more than I paid for it because the market had changed so much price wise on them. And I ended up buying the 430 now. And same series. What they did is put emissions on it basically, but it's the same as what the 420. It used to be the 420 and 530. But I'm just saying, in this video, that's something, I don't know what we're going to call this video, but I want to mention that about the tractors. That dealership is a perfect example of what people talk about on YouTube, and they always get beat up because someone's like, oh, this tractor's great. You know, right now, the tractor that seems to be pushing and people are getting them free, given to them for their YouTube channel is TYM. They're just push, push, push. Toro lawnmower, same thing, push, push, push. That's why I bought my Toro Zero Turn a couple years ago. And I'll tell you what, to me, that's the biggest piece of crap I've owned so far. A lot of issues for a piece of equipment. This is my 3rd season with it. And I've pretty much wrenched on it every season since it was new. So just be careful what you buy. I'm going to try to come up with videos and explain. I don't want people mad at me if you bought one of those, or let's say you buy a bad boy tractor. I'm not saying it's a piece of crap. I'm just saying there's a reason that tractor's cheaper. And it's normally because 10 years down the road, there's not going to be support for it. I know Messick did a video a while back saying that some of these companies will go out of business once this boom's over. And same thing with that. I've witnessed that. I've seen a lot of tractor brands that are no longer here. And Montana was one. I think the Montana was made. Basically, I think Cabela's or someone, I think it was Cabela's that started selling diesel tractors, I think all the way up to like 35 horse. You see them on auction sites now for $8,000 with 150 hours on them. So the poor guy that bought that at Cabela's for 25 thinking, oh, this is a good deal. It's 10 grand less than a John Deere or a Yanmar or whatever. But there's always a reason. And same thing, that I don't know who made the Montana tractor. I'm quite sure it's another rebranded tractor, but you're going to have a mongrel parts-wise. It might have, let's say that has a Yanmar diesel motor on it. You might be fine getting rebuild parts or an injection pump for that motor, but what happens to the clutch assembly? If that's got made specifically for that tractor, then we're just going to disappear. And that's what my worry would be about buying one of the off-brand tractors. Years ago, I want to say the 80s, I remember I was doing construction. And back then, what I think the term they used was black market machines. You could buy a Case 580 that was a Case 580, then you could buy a black market 580 case, and they were pieces of crap. They had a lot of issues. They had pieces on them that you couldn't get from a normal dealer. And I believe that's what they call it, a black market. And it wasn't just the case. There was a couple other companies doing it. And it's like right now, everybody seems to be, I'm a Kubota guy. I've just had good luck with them. It's like I'm a Ford truck guy. I've had good luck with them. I'm not saying everybody's gonna, but I would be careful about buying some of these off brands of any type of equipment. I actually think these Japanese skid steers and stuff, the stand-ons with the Briggs & Stratton motors, stuff like that, you see them brand new at an auction site. You've got YouTube videos you can watch. I bet there's 150 videos you can watch where someone went to an auction. There's a whole trailer load of those, brand new, never sold. Wherever they went, they didn't sell. They're buying that for $4,000, but there's a good chance you're going to use that once a pump goes. You may not be able to get a pump. You're going to retrofit something. Again, I'm not saying there's not a use for it, but I won't touch one of them. One of my friends just became a dealer. I'm not going to give a brand name, but they basically bought a whole shipment of the dump cart ones, the skid steers, mini excavators. This company makes all that stuff. I think they call them telehandler. There's like 6 different pieces of machinery they make from mini. I think they're called micro excavators, not mini excavators. They're micro excavators. They got the stand-on skid steers with the bucket, forks, all that. There's 2 or 3 different sizes. They got the ones with rubber tires, ones with tracks. And they became a dealer of them, I want to say 2 months ago. I don't believe they've sold one yet. And I know the rubber tired one, stand-on skid steer, I think it's only $4,800 and they're not selling. I think people are nervous of it. I am. I think they're neat. I think if you could buy one and there was a dealer support, but they're not a dealer. They got a dealer's license to sell them. They have no parts department or nothing for them. So you're taking a gamble buying those too right now. And the market seems to be getting flooded. My local marketplace is already, matter of fact, the brand they're selling, there's already some on marketplace with like 50 hours on them people are selling. So I'm questioning why. But people are buying them at an auction and putting them right on marketplace, just trying to make a quick $1,500 on each piece they buy. I think it's weird. How do you send something like that all the way over on a boat and sell it when it gets here for $4,000? I don't understand how you can do that even with a Briggs & Stratton. There might be another video coming up on that because I'm trying to do my research on it. It's kind of hard to find out stuff about them, other than that people are just buying them. There doesn't seem to be dealers of them. They're all ending up at these big auction places, and they just get auctioned off to 100 guys. They put them on marketplace, and that's how they're getting out into the system. But I think the market's going to get flooded with those, and you're going to be lucky to pull 2,500 out of one of those, even if it's in mint shape, I think, in 2 or 3 years. I know there's a lot of YouTube guys that bought them just to see what the hype was about, and most of them don't have much good to say. It's like they feel like they might as well have gave that $4,000 away at the auction. But anyways, we're going to end this video. I thought it'd be a cool video. It's something I do. Like I said, I had a few hours to play around with that day, and I'm a simple guy to keep amused, so I go to a Ford dealership at Tractor Place. But I didn't think about that until I left that dealer, so I wanted to bring it up in the video. But again, this is kind of an off track of what I normally do, but if you like this content, please like and subscribe. If you want me to do more stuff like this, say something. I think it's cool. I think it's neat when you watch a guy go to a Chevy or Dodge Ford dealership, whatever it is, go around. Sometimes the price variation from one part of the country to the other is pretty impressive too. Right now in New England, that one Ford dealership, the first dealership I went to, was discounting them. They had a handful that were discounted $4,500. Most of them were $38,000. I did see a couple that were $32,000 and change, but they were all $3,000 plus discounted off the sticker price. I did ask the second dealer. I talked to some salesmen. I think they were just kind of wondering why I was walking around with a camera, but they didn't want me to tape them, but I did talk to them. Ford right now is letting the dealerships, or maybe the dealership's doing it on their own, but they're discounting them to get them rolling out of there. Right now, there's no good interest rates on the Super Duties. I know that. I asked 2 different salesmen at both places. So right now, what Ford's going to do is they're going to give you that discount probably and not a good interest rate. I think as time goes on and the dealership keeps filling and filling and filling, they'll not only get a discount on the truck, you're probably going to get an incentive plan from Ford. You're going to have to use Ford Motor Credit or whatever. I've bought a lot of trucks over the years, and I've seen this happen before when things get bad. Election years in general, money gets tight as the election gets closer. Almost, even when the economy's doing good, the market fluctuates a little bit. So I think right now, if you look in the market for a truck, you should wait. I think once snow starts flying around New England, you're going to see some packages get put together with plows on them where you're probably going to get a pretty good discount and a pretty good interest rate, just so they can get them off the dealer lots. So, and the 25s will probably start coming out pretty quick, which will make the 24 worth less. So you'll probably see incentive plans on those 24s. And like I said, I'm no know-it-all. I've just bought a lot of trucks over the years. That's my biggest weakness. I'm pretty conservative other than my vehicles. And even now I'm starting to be, a vehicle is a bad investment. I don't care what anybody says. You buy a tractor, that thing makes you a lot of money. You buy your truck, it just gets you got to move your equipment, but you still don't, I still don't feel like you make the money. The guy that's a carpenter, where that's his rolling toolbox, that truck's, he needs one good truck. I agree. You buy a new truck every 4 or 5 years and probably justify it. A guy like me, now I'm staying local, that 16 I'm going to try to get another 2 or 3 years out of. I may even do something where my personal truck gets retired to the business and I'll buy another personal truck. We'll see what happens. If I can do that tax-wise, I may end up doing that. I might drive that 23 I got for 2 more years and let that relax back to the business, and I'll buy myself another personal truck new. I know I'm never going to do long distance anymore. I'm going to stay local for my business. I'm at that point in my career where I can do that. I am exploring some other things where I may have to go a little bit. We'll see what happens. But again, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. It will really help me grow this channel. Even hitting the like button. If you want me to do reviews like this, drive to a dealer and show you what's in New England, say something too. Like I said, I've been watching a guy that's in the California area, and once in a while he'll show gas prices, which makes me feel better about the prices here in New Hampshire. But he goes to the dealers down there, and his thing right now is he's showing how the Broncos and stuff like that. Like I said, 6 months ago, you were being told, oh, you're going to have to order one of those. You'll be lucky if you see it in a year. Now they're everywhere. Every option, too. So, but again, thanks for watching.